All right, welcome class. Sorry I'm not here. We're going to see how this works out with the video. So lesson 1.2.3, one visual to another. How do we go from Venn diagrams that we learned about last class that are really useful in their own right to a different kind of visual? So go ahead, pause the video, and if at any point you're like, hey, I need you to pause so I can catch up with whatever Mr. Curry's saying, feel free to raise your hand and the substitute can do that for you. So first up, we're looking at this question. A group of statistics students wanted to look at how common it is for young adults to have pierced ears. They recorded two variables, gender, male or female, and whether or not they have pierced ears. They talked to 178 students. Of the 90 males, 71 did not have pierced ears. Of the females, 84 had pierced ears. So kind of the first question whenever we're dealing with something like this is, what should A and B represent? Go ahead, pause the video, catch up, write that example down, and answer the question, what should A and B be? All right, so the way I defined it is A is males and B is pierced ears. Now, caveat with that, you could choose pretty much anything as long as you represent both variables. Now, you'll notice down in that note that you hopefully were reading, it doesn't matter what you pick. So if you chose A as females, B as people without pierced ears, that is just as good and will get you the same answers. Where you want to be careful, though, is you don't want to choose things that are part of the same variable. So A as male, B as female would not work because you never addressed pierced ears. You never talked about that other variable. So go ahead. If you use something different for A and B, that's totally fine. Just make sure that your numbers work out the same in the end. So we're going to take this thing and create a Venn diagram of it. So I always draw the same Venn diagram. I don't care what the proportions are. I'm going to write the exact same thing. So take that how you will. You're welcome to adjust if you would like. I like it when you draw a Venn diagram, label it with both the words, what does that region mean, and the numbers. So for instance, first up, S. What is S? Our sample space. It's 178 people, and it's everyone who was surveyed. What does it mean to be strictly in this part of A? Well, that means that you are a male, because A is male, and you're not in B, so you don't have pierced ears. How many people fit into that category? 71. Then, what does it mean if you're here in the middle? What if you're in both? What if you're in both A and B? Well, A is males, B is people with pierced ears, so that's males with pierced ears. And hopefully from 90 total males and 71 didn't have pierced ears, you can do the math and get 19. B, what does it mean to be in B? You have pierced ears. But if you're not in A, then this means that this is females with pierced ears. And from our deductive math, there are 84 females with pierced ears. Then, if you're outside both circles, if you're not A and you're not B, well, you're not male and you don't have pierced ears. And there were 4 people who fit into that category. Now, I would like to caveat here, if you're sitting there and you're like, well, if I was doing this survey, I would have asked more questions. Great, do that. The issue with that is you have to add more circles, and I don't want to deal with more circles personally. So for the example, we keep it very simple, but that is something you could do if you so desired. So go ahead, pause the video if you need to catch up on drawing, but we're going to take a look at 3 questions. So find the probability of randomly selecting a student who A, has pierced ears, B, is male and has pierced ears, and C, is male or has pierced ears. So go ahead, pause the video, do these problems, and I'll put the answers up here in just a moment. All right, and with this, I include the symbology because has pierced ears, well, that's just P of B. and there's a total of 103 people. We add all of the regions that are in B. Very similarly for B, well, that's the probability of A intersect B. You are both male and have pierced ears. There are 19. Oh, come back. There are 19 people who fit that category. C is male or has pierced ears. Well, that is the probability of A union. Union means or, A or B. And that is everyone except for these 4 females out here. Now, someone pointed out and asked, because they were like, wait a sec. Yesterday, you were harping on us this definition, P of A union B equals P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersect B. Well, the reason why is because if you were doing this way, A is this 90 people, B is this 103 people, 90 plus 103 is 193. Well, that's more than we even have in this survey. But if we subtract 19, we get our 174. So that is why. If that got you, don't worry, you are not the only one. But this is why we have that rule. So go ahead, pause the video if you need to catch up with any of that definition. If you need to repeat it, go ahead and go back a minute or so. So now we're going to look at that idea of how do we make that jump. You'll notice up here, that definition is explained again. Just make sure that you really understand this. It is on your equation sheet, so you shouldn't ever forget it, but it's an easy one to forget. Go ahead, pause the video, and write down this definition. So a two-way table is a visual display of two variable data. I have a generic two-way table here, but I think it's going to make a lot more sense once we put this other example into a two-way table. So let's go ahead and look at that. What would it look like? Now, it does not matter which variable you put where. I personally put gender here because gender is a shorter word, and I could write it sideways much easier. Whereas, do they have pierced ears is a long question. I wanted a lot of space. So that just makes life a little bit easier as we are dealing with it. Notice this interior section. This is all of the stuff from the Venn diagrams. But I'm going to scroll down so you can get this definition. Now we have what is called marginal distributions. If you have a piece of paper, where are the margins? They are everything not in the middle. So now we can talk about stuff like, what's the probability of selecting a male? It's 90 out of 178. What's the probability of selecting someone who doesn't have pierced ears? It's 75 out of 178. So this is a very technical definition. This is what you would see in a college textbook. The important part to know is it's the margins of this distribution. And that word distribution just means any display of data where you are representing the whole separated out into categories. So go ahead, pause if you need to. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can get those two parts. All right, and here is just another example, just talking through exactly how we do marginal distributions. So with that, I want to go ahead. You can pause the video, write this stuff down if you need to. Your homework assignment is the blue sheet. That'll be due whenever I get back. By whenever, I mean next week, so don't freak out. But real quick, I want to talk about your quiz tomorrow. So your quiz is 9 multiple choice questions, MCQs. MCQs for the AP exam get 2.25 minutes, 2 minutes and 15 seconds each. which, if you do the math, comes out to 20 minutes and 25 seconds, or 20 minutes and 15 seconds. That is a really nitpicky number, and this is your first quiz, so I'm going to give you 25 minutes. Now, I say that. If you use that full 25 minutes, great. That is okay. Double check your answers. It's a good idea. But I will tell you up front, a lot of people finish these AP questions faster because not all AP multiple choice questions are the same. Some of them are ridiculously hard. There are a few on this quiz that I know are very difficult, and I put them there on purpose because I want to see how you think about them. There are also some that are so easy that you don't even think about it. It takes 10 seconds to do the problem. So, however long it takes, don't worry about it. And keep in mind, this is the first quiz of the year. If it feels hard, good. That means you're going to be challenged. If it feels easy, don't worry. It'll get more difficult. And if you were freaking out earlier, ignore that last sentence. Some details about it. When you are doing your answering, please circle your letter and write it off in the margin. One, it makes me ultra sure that that is the choice you made. A lot of people are really bad at erasing, and it's hard for me to tell which answer you want. This also speeds it up. I can grade a lot easier. I can look at the page and go, great, 2 out of 2. And then I can move on to the next page. So that is going to be next class. It is over everything that we have done thus far. So good luck. The bright side, that means there is no homework this weekend. So make sure, if you have any questions, please come on in. I'll be back on Monday, and I will love to help you. But do your best on that quiz, and I have full confidence in you. I think everyone's going to do great. Have a great day.